Hello, Hoops fans. Welcome back to Tips and Streams, your go-to spot for all things NBA betting. As always, it's your host, Kokan here, and I'm super excited to bring you today's jam-packed episode. We've got a thrilling lineup of today's NBA games, and I'm ready to dive deep with our predictions and insider tips. Whether you're a seasoned bettor or just getting into the game, today's episode is tailored just for you. Stay tuned, and let's get into today's NBA betting predictions on Tips and Streams. In tonight's basketball battle, the Dallas Mavericks are hitting the court with a solid 24-20 tally, ready to face off against the Atlanta Hawks, who are hustling to improve their 18-26 score. The action unfolds at the State Farm Arena. Leading the Mavericks charge is the sensational Luka Doncic, a veritable scoring machine, dropping an impressive average of 33.6 points a game, grabbing 8.5 rebounds, and dishing out 9.3 assists. His shooting accuracy is on point, with 48.3% field goal success. Kyrie Irving, another critical playmaker, is adding 25.2 points per outing. The Mavericks' fortunes are riding high on Doncic's stellar play and the starting lineup's strong performance, bolstered by bench power like Tim Hardaway, who's netting 18.1 points a game. On the other side, the Hawks are stepping up with some serious game. Clint Capella is putting up 11.2 points and hauling in 10.4 boards a game, while Bogdan Bogdanovic is contributing 16.8 points, 3.1 rebounds, and 2.6 assists. Atlanta's key players, Saddiq Bey and DeJounte Murray, are crucial too, with Murray scoring 21.4 points and Bey adding 12.7 points and 6.4 rebounds a game. But the Hawks are still shaking off a tough 134-112 defeat to the Golden State Warriors, where they let the opposition shoot over 55%. This could be their Achilles heel, especially as they face that loss minus their star, Trae Young, who's sidelined in the concussion protocol. Peering at the betting lines, the Mavericks are tipped with a 2-point advantage, and the over-under for total points is pegged at 243.5. Both teams have been stumbling a bit against the spread recently. The Mavericks are 1-4 in their last 5 against the spread, similar to the Hawks' 1-4 record in their recent matchups, showing both squads have struggled to beat the spread. Taking into account the team's current form, past face-offs, and key players' stats, I'm leaning towards a Dallas Mavericks victory. Their offensive firepower, led by Doncic and backed by Irving, could overpower the Hawks, especially if Trae Young isn't in top form. Yet, considering the recent defensive slips of both teams and their challenges in beating the spread, it seems likely that the total points will dip below 244. Both teams have seen a drop in scoring efficiency recently, with the Hawks averaging 106.7 points per 100 possessions and the Mavericks at 114.2. Wrapping it up, while I expect the Dallas Mavericks to clinch this one, my wager is on the total points. Given the current form of both teams, relying on them feels risky. I'm putting my chips on the total staying under 244. The next today's prediction is for the game between Houston Rockets and Charlotte Hornets. In the upcoming showdown at the Spectrum Center, the Houston Rockets are set to battle it out with the Charlotte Hornets in what's shaping up to be a riveting contest. The Rockets, currently standing at a 20-23 win-loss tally, are hungry to break their 3-game losing streak on the road. Their recent outings saw them triumph over the Jazz but falter against the Celtics and Trailblazers. Averaging 112.9 points on a 46.1% shooting efficiency, they've been conceding 112.7 points on average, with opponents shooting 45.7%. Alperen Sengun and Jalen Green are the Rockets' aces, with Sengun dropping an impressive 22.1 points and grabbing 9.2 rebounds per game, while Green is contributing a solid 17.4 points and 4.5 rebounds. The Rockets have been struggling in away games, especially after a defeat, and have a hard time beating the spread when facing Eastern Conference teams on the road. The Charlotte Hornets, however, are in a bit of a rut with a 10-32 record. They've been on the losing end in 8 of their last 10 games, including recent setbacks against the 76ers and Pistons. The Hornets are scoring 108.7 points on average with a 45.9% shooting accuracy, but they're giving up a hefty 119.8 points on a 49.9% opponent shooting percentage. LaMelo Ball and Miles Bridges are the key Hornets players, with Ball averaging 24.3 points and 5.3 rebounds, and Bridges contributing 20.8 points and 7.1 rebounds. The Hornets have been struggling to cover the spread in recent games, particularly against teams with losing records, and haven't been too successful as home underdogs against teams on the first game of a back-to-back. Alperen Sengun of the Rockets is in top form, hitting career highs in several stats. He's expected to spearhead the Rockets' efforts in this face-off. For the Hornets, LaMelo Ball, though limited by injuries this season, remains a pivotal player. His performance could be the game-changer for the Hornets. Looking at the betting trends, neither team has been particularly effective against the spread lately, with both the Rockets and Hornets going 2-8 against the spread in their last 10 matchups. The Rockets have shown more dynamism this season, but mainly in their home games. On the road, they've only managed to cover the spread in 6 of their 19 away games. Taking all this into account, the prediction leans towards the Charlotte Hornets to beat the 5.5-point spread. Their current form, coupled with the urgency for a victory and the advantage of playing at home, seems to give them the upper hand against the struggling Rockets on the road. However, it's always good to bear in mind that sports betting is full of surprises and responsible gambling is key. Today's prediction is for the game between Phoenix Suns and Indiana Pacers. Tonight's hoop showdown is heating up with the Phoenix Suns squaring off against the Indiana Pacers. It's a tight race this season, with the Suns flexing a 26-18 record and the Pacers hot on their heels at 24-21. The Suns are bringing their A-game on the road, boasting a 5-1 record in their recent away games. They're shooting hoops with a killer 48.65% field goal precision and nailing 37.60% of their three-pointers. These sharpshooters are also dominating the boards with 43.26 rebounds per game. The Pacers, despite scoring more on average, don't quite match up with their 50.20% field goal efficiency and 37.90% from beyond the arc. When it comes to face-offs in Indiana, the Suns have the upper hand, having clinched 3 out of their last 4 games against the Pacers. The Pacers' shaky record in consecutive games, with only 1 win out of 8, and their injury woes, with Tyrese Halliburton out and Jalen Smith's participation uncertain, spell trouble. The Suns have Eric Gordon and Bol Bol listed as questionable, but they still seem to hold the edge. The Suns, despite a 6-13-1 record against the spread in their last 20 games, are unstoppable with a 7-0 record in their recent matchups. The Pacers, trailing with a 2-5 record in their last 7 games, often keep the score low in back-to-back games. The Suns shine particularly against Eastern Conference teams, boasting a 6-0 record in recent encounters. The odds makers are leaning towards the Suns with a 6-point advantage and a total score prediction of 243. The smart bet might be on a score lower than 243, given the Pacers' low-scoring trend in successive games and the Suns' defensive strength on the road. Summing it up, the Suns outshine the Pacers with their shooting accuracy and rebounding skills. The Suns are favorites to win, but their track record against the spread is less impressive, only better than the Hawks. They've only beaten the spread in 9 of 19 road games this season. I expect the Suns to take the win, but the real deal is betting on the total score staying under 243, considering both teams' defensive play and recent form. My money goes on total points to stay under 243. Today's prediction is for the game between Los Angeles Clippers and Toronto Raptors. In the upcoming showdown, the Los Angeles Clippers are set to face off against the Toronto Raptors, and it's shaping up to be a barn burner. The Clippers, boasting a solid 28-14 record, are hitting the hardwood with momentum on their side. Their squad, featuring stars like Leonard, George, and Harden, has been lighting up the scoreboard with some serious offensive firepower and tight defense. However, they're hitting a snag with Ivica Zubac riding the pine, leaving a hole they need to play smart to cover. On the flip side, the Raptors, sitting at 16-28, are trying to shake off a slump. Even with standout plays from Barrett and Barnes, they're struggling to gel as a team. Their recent outings have been a mixed bag, and they're gearing up to flip the script in this face-off. But they're feeling the heat with key players Jakob Poeltl and Emmanuel Quickley out of the game, adding to their uphill battle. Stat-wise, the Clippers are a force, dropping an average of 118.02 points per game with a slick shooting percentage of 49.58%. Their prowess from downtown is impressive too, at 40.07%. On defense, they're holding teams to 112.14 points. The Raptors, meanwhile, are averaging 114.34 points, with a field goal percentage of 48.02%. Their three-point game is at 35.65%, and on the defensive end, they're giving up about 116.36 points per game. Looking back, the Clippers have been owning the Raptors in recent meetups, bagging 7 wins in their last 10 games and showing up strong in Toronto. The Raptors, though they've seen some home court magic, need to bring their A game to take on the Clippers. Betting trends are leaning toward the Clippers. They've been solid against the spread lately, showing grit and consistency. The Raptors, while underdogs, have a knack for shining when least expected, but their current form and injury woes are tipping the scales towards the Clippers. All things considered, current form, past faceoffs, and key stats, I'm leaning toward a Clippers victory. They've got a more consistent and well-rounded lineup, but the Raptors, with home court and a knack for upsets, might just defy the odds and cover the 7.5-point spread, making this a must-watch game. Tough call, but the Clippers are the ones in prime form, while the Raptors bring their best game on their turf against top-tier teams. I'm placing my bet on the Toronto Raptors to beat the odds and cover the hefty 7.5-point spread. The next today's prediction is for the game between Orlando Magic and Memphis Grizzlies. As the Orlando Magic, boasting a 23-21 record, gear up to clash with the Memphis Grizzlies, who've racked up an awe-inspiring 77 wins and 27 losses, we're diving into the stats to predict the outcome of this electrifying contest at the FedEx Forum. The Magic's recent playbook shows they've been playing it close to the vest, with their scores often not skyrocketing, evident in 7 of their last 9 games where the total points didn't hit high numbers. On the road, their stats are nothing to scoff at. They're dropping an average of 111.43 points per game, while keeping their rivals to 111.16. Their sharpshooting is on point too, with a field goal percentage of 46.79%, nudging past the Grizzlies' 43.92%. From beyond the arc, they're netting 34.25%, barely outshooting Memphis's 34.18%. On the boards, the Magic are snagging 43.36 rebounds per game, topping Memphis's 42.23. Now, the Grizzlies, despite their stellar win-loss column, are grappling with key injuries. Heavy hitters like Ja Morant, Desmond Bane, and Derrick Rose are riding the bench, cranking up the heat on players like Jaren Jackson Jr. Yet, they've shown grit, snagging wins in their last 2 games despite a thinner lineup. Their defense, especially against the Heat, has been a high point. However, their home court hasn't been the fortress it once was, with recent slips against Eastern Conference visitors. Looking back, the Grizzlies have dominated Orlando in Memphis, clinching 13 of their last 15 home faceoffs. But the Magic have a knack for beating the odds on the road, especially against teams with a losing streak. Memphis's injury list could be the game-changer here. Credit to the Grizzlies for their upsets against the Raptors and Heat, but with a lineup that's more G League than NBA due to injuries, it's a stretch to back them with full confidence. The Magic, despite their hiccups, are a solid 28-16 against the spread. With a 63.6% rate of beating the spread, they're second only to the Thunder in the league. Considering everything, team dynamics, individual stats, and past showdowns, the scales tip towards the Orlando Magic, not just winning, but also outperforming the spread. Their robust defense, combined with Memphis's roster woes, sets them up for success. Also, factoring in both teams' scoring patterns and defensive plays, it seems likely the total points will be shy of 214. The Magic's track record of beating the spread this season further solidifies this call. In short, I'm placing my chips on the Orlando Magic to triumph and beat the spread, with total points likely staying under 214. Their stronger stats, along with Memphis's injury troubles, mark them as the top pick in this showdown. The next today's prediction is for the game between Cleveland Cavaliers and Milwaukee Bucks. In the high-flying world of basketball showdowns, the Cleveland Cavaliers squaring off against the Milwaukee Bucks is shaping up to be a real nail-biter. Let's hoop into the stats and recent form to dissect this epic face-off. Strutting in record, dominating the hardwood in their backyard, racking up a 24 tally at home. Their latest performances, including a slam dunk over the Cavs, have been a showcase of Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard's scoring blitz and playmaking magic. averaging a whopping 124.6 points per game. The Bucks have been offensive juggernauts, though their defense, giving up 120.4 points on average, has left some room for opponents to score. The Cavs, holding a solid 26-16 record, have shown true grit and team chemistry, overcoming injury hurdles. With an 11-8 record on foreign courts, they've held their own outside their fortress. Their defensive game is top tier, ranking second in the league for clamping down on points, and they've been masters at shutting down field goals and triples by their rivals. This defensive acumen, paired with their knack for rallying after a loss, especially against the spread, shows they're a team that can rebound with force. In recent head-to-heads, the Cavs have the edge, winning 6 out of the last 10 and beating the spread in those triumphs. Yet, in Milwaukee's realm, the Bucks have flexed their muscles, with the Cavs only snagging 1 win and cover in their last 4 visits. These past clashes are key to consider, especially with the Cavs' recent struggles on the Bucks' turf. Injury updates are crucial in this matchup. The Cavs are missing key players like Tristan Thompson, Ty Jerome, Darius Garland, and Evan Mobley, which could dent their gameplay. Meanwhile, the Bucks are at full strength, giving them a leg up in talent and depth. Examining the betting landscape, the Bucks are the 5.5-point favorites, with the total points bar set at 238.5. The Cavs have been tough against the spread lately, particularly after losses, while the Bucks have been stumbling to cover the spread. This, coupled with the Cavs' defensive stronghold, might see the total points duck under 238.5. The Bucks recently bested the Cavs by 10 points, making them seem like the safe bet. But with the Bucks' shaky defense and a lackluster 17-26-1 against the spread record, I'm hesitant to bank on them as favorites. The Cavs, on their part, have clinched 8 of their last 9 and covered 7 of their last 10. Until the Bucks tighten up their defense and prove they can cover consistently, the smart play is to take the points with the underdog. Wrapping it up, the Bucks, with their home court dominance, fully loaded roster, and recent win over the Cavs, look like the frontrunners. But the Cavs, with their defensive might and bounce-back ability, especially against the spread, suggest they could stay within the plus 5.5-point margin. This clash is set to be tight, with a good chance of staying under the 238.5 total points. My call, back the Cavs to cover the plus 5.5-point spread, with total points falling short of 238.5. The next today's prediction is for the game between Oklahoma City Thunder and New Orleans Pelicans. In the showdown at the Smoothie King Center, the Oklahoma City Thunder and the New Orleans Pelicans are gearing up for a hoop showdown that's got everyone buzzing. The Thunder, on a hot streak with 4 straight wins, are tearing up the court with a hefty 121.9 points per game and a solid shooting percentage of 50.5%, while holding opponents to 113.6 points on 44.8% from the field. Watch out for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, dropping a smooth 31.1 points and dishing out 6.4 assists, and Jalen Williams, who's snagging 18.7 points and 4.1 boards a game. Chet Holmgren's block party, ranking 4th in the league, adds some serious defense to the Thunder's playbook. Flip the script to the Pelicans, sitting at 25-18, they're no pushovers. Scoring an average of 117.5 points on 48.9% shooting and keeping the rivals at 112.5 points on 46.1% shooting, they're a force to reckon with. Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram are lighting up the scoreboard for the Pelicans, and C.J. McCollum's deadly from downtown, ranking 3rd in three-pointers made per game. The Thunder have been killing it recently, going 6-3 against the spread in their last 9 and 8-2 straight up in their last 10 games. They're a road warrior against the Pelicans, boasting a 7-0 against the spread in their last 7 road games in New Orleans. However, the Pelicans are showing their claws too, with an 8-4 against the spread in their last 12 and 9-4 straight up in their last 13 games. The Pelicans are a dual threat, ranking 9th in both offensive and defensive efficiency, and playing at the league's 14th fastest pace. The Thunder, though, are defensive juggernauts, leading in blocks and opponent turnovers per game. In their last 10 face-offs, the Thunder have claimed 4 wins and covered the spread in 6. In New Orleans, they've won 3 of their last 5 and covered the spread in 4, showing they've got the Pelicans' number in their house. I've been big on the Pelicans since preseason, and it's great to see them getting props now. But what's even cooler is seeing the Thunder as underdogs. They're the league's top dogs against the spread at 29-15. So, here's the deal. Considering their current form, player stats, and past showdowns, I'm leaning towards the Thunder covering that plus 2.5 point spread. Expect a scoreboard explosion, with total points likely soaring past 240.5. In short, I'm sticking with the Thunder. They've been cashing tickets nonstop, and getting those extra points is just icing on the cake. I'm putting my money on the Thunder to cover the spread in what's shaping up to be an epic, high-scoring clash. The last prediction for today is for the matchup between Portland Trail Blazers and San Antonio Spurs. As the Portland Trail Blazers get set to face off against the San Antonio Spurs, the hardwood's all primed for an electrifying showdown. This season's been a roller coaster for both squads. The Blazers have racked up 13 wins to 31 losses, while the Spurs trail with 8 victories and 36 defeats. Yet, these numbers only scratch the surface of what these teams bring to the court. Offensively, the Spurs hold a slim edge, netting an average of 112.8 points per game, a notch above the Blazers' 108.25. But defense has been the Achilles heel for both, with Portland conceding 117.27 points per matchup, and San Antonio giving up 122.14. This defensive gap could be a game changer. Shooting-wise, the Spurs are shooting the lights out with a field goal percentage of 46.05%, outshining Portland's 43.62%. However, the Blazers are more lethal from downtown, sinking threes at a 35.76% clip compared to the Spurs' 34.40%. On the boards, the Spurs have a slight upper hand, snagging 42.91 rebounds per game against the Blazers' 41.66. This rebounding prowess could tilt the scales, particularly in a clash where every scoring chance counts. Recent form reveals some intriguing trends. The Blazers have been beating the odds, going 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 games, though they've hit a bump on the road with a 2-12 record in recent away games. The Spurs, meanwhile, have been surprising underdogs, covering the spread in 9 of their last 12 games, hinting at their resilience despite their overall struggles. In their last few face-offs, the Blazers have had the upper hand in half of their last 10 encounters, but in San Antonio they've only clinched 1 victory and covered the spread twice in the last 4. Yet there's a buzz about turning the tide this time around. All things considered, the Blazers seem poised to take this one. They've got the edge in defensive play and a knack for beating the spread lately, signaling a potential victory. However, don't count out the Spurs. They've consistently defied the odds. I'm betting big on the total score soaring past the 233.5 point mark. Both teams have been lighting up the scoreboard this season, and given their shaky defenses, we're likely in for a high-octane scoring fest. From a betting standpoint, the smart money's on the total points to eclipse 234.5,